In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use Newsela as a tech tool um, for different standards such as main idea in the elementary setting. So one really nice thing that Newsela has done recently is linked with Google, so it makes it really easy for Prairie accounts to utilize all its features. So Newsela is basically an online news source meant for kids. You can search, as you can see in the search bar, different topics. But if you look to the right of that search bar, you can see that there are grade level selections and also skills. So if you're focusing on a specific skill, so in the search bar, the reading skills are listed here. One thing that we've been focusing on is central idea or main idea. So it's really nice. You can click that and then the grade level, and it'll populate some different article choices that are recent. But if you don't see anything that you think would interest your students or you think is appropriate, you can click see more. You can also create text sets yourself or look for text sets that are already made. So one that I created for main idea, we did 2 examples yesterday using those articles. I put in a text set so that kids can easily access them. When you click on an article, there's different Lexile levels, so you can adjust it. But what I really like is that you can edit in that article and take notes. So I've tagged the topic that we talked about, the main idea, and then the details that we discussed. So when I share this with students via Google Classroom or via their email, they can already see the notes that we've shared in class to help them. Another nice feature is that if you get the Google Read Write extension, it can read the entire article for the students. So if they want to listen to it again, they have that available to them. Like I said earlier, one of the really nice features is that it links with Google. So I have linked my Google Classroom to Newsela, and you can also share it via Google Classroom. So there's different share features. You can tweet it, you can email it, you can put it on your Facebook page. But we use Google Classroom often, so if I wanted to share this to Google Classroom, all I would have to do is click this icon here and then choose a class to put it into, and then decide whether I want it to be an assignment, a question, or announcement. And it automatically opens up your Google Classroom. Then when I go to my Google Classroom and I refresh the screen, it comes up with that article that they can click on as a link. And going and searching, you can type in any article that you're thinking of. For example, we have an environment unit coming up. And so maybe if you find an article that you think would be a good fit with your students, you can annotate it with them, or you can even assign them annotations. So one way to annotate, if I'm looking for the main idea, all I have to do is highlight, and then it gives me some options. And we've talked a lot about color coding ours to match write tools. So our main idea or big idea, we highlight in yellow, and I just usually write main idea and then some details. Then we highlight those in red, and then the topic we highlight in green. So it's just one way for them to get more interactive with the text that you share. And like I said, you can create a text set. That way, if you want them to only look at specific articles, they can only get into that text set. one thing with Newsela, obviously it's for students into high school as well. So some of the articles aren't best suited for younger students. I mean, you can change the Lexile to kind of meet whatever you would like, but some of the topics might not be something that's more appropriate for a second grader versus a high schooler. So if you create a text set, you can give them access to that text set, and then they can choose text within that. I've also used the text set feature for reading groups. So each group had a specific text set. So they were in charge of reading different articles on their own time. And that way it was more suited to each reading group. The nice thing about Newsela is that it does come with quizzes that give you information. So if you look right here, you'll see that there's a writing prompt. Write a short paragraph that explains the central idea of the article. Use at least 2 details from the article to support your response. So that's an option that you can assign. But one really nice feature is the quiz. So each one has a quiz that goes along with the content. And what's really nice is it'll show you what anchor or what standard it would go with. So this one is with central idea. And it automatically populates the questions into my Newsela account so that I can see how they're doing. And we did this yesterday for the first time, and it really showed that they hadn't had a lot of experience with main idea and detail. So my students got to choose between 2 articles yesterday that we had already read and gone over together. And then it shows me their scores. So I can see which ones they answered correctly and which ones they answered incorrectly. So it's a great teaching point. You can go back over it the next day, going over some of the quiz questions and talking about the answers to those. So I can see my class as well. Load. So it separates it by assignment. So right now they've just had 3, and only a few of them got to work on it yesterday. They're going to have more time today. It shows you your average quiz score, and the amount of time that was spent on the article. So if you were assigning it and you hadn't read it yet, you can see if they're just clicking through versus if they're reading it and really thinking about it. So we have another assignment today that's about central idea or main idea. And we've been pre-teaching it together as a whole class, and then they have time to work on it during their reading group time. They read it again, or they can have Google Read Write right here, read it to them. And then they have to answer the quiz questions. And the reason I chose quiz questions is because each one of these articles is linked to central idea. So every one of them asks them what the main idea of that article is to see if they can pull it out of that piece. There are a lot of other features that Newsela offers, and they keep adding features as well. It's one that's updated often. And when you log in, you create you can create an account, but you get a free pro trial, so you can see all of its features and decide whether that's something that you want to pay the membership for. I think the trial is like 90 days or something. It's a long time, so you have a lot of time to kind of play around with it. And like I said, with our Google accounts, it's easy to share either through Google Classroom, but if you aren't using that tool, you can send it via email. Or if you use a Facebook page, that's another way that you can share it. But you can just click on the icon that's email, and it'll automatically open up your email. You could also just click on the link here and copy it and then send it if you have a group in your Gmail account. Another thing I've done is I've printed them off if I have a sub, or um, if they are working on their own and I want them to take the article home, you can print it off along with the writing option and the quiz, and they can highlight the different main idea details with a highlighter versus with the annotation tool. So there are a lot of features. And like I said, you can use it really for a lot of different nonfiction text feature skills, and grade levels 2 through high school. So it really has a lot of features that might be nice to tie in some nonfiction for your science or social studies unit. If you do have any other questions about using Newsela as a tool to help get in some nonfiction, some current event articles, please don't hesitate to email me.